G'day, everybody. Mark here from Tiling Connect. Welcome back to the program, and welcome back to another episode. We're three deep in 2025, and again have another cracking guest with us today. We've got Josh West, aka Westy from West Tiling, a bit of a local here in Brisbane, which is absolutely fantastic. Josh, welcome to the program.
Hey, Mark. Thanks for the invite, mate. Looking forward to this conversation today, and hopefully I can provide some value.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, I reckon you will. We've crossed paths over many years, so it's really good that you put your hand up, mate, to come on, and I'm glad you accepted the invitation, because there's nothing better than having a chat with people that are on the tools, building their professional lives around being a tiling contractor and making it all happen for them in business and life. So, mate, I think always the best place to start is for us to get a bit of an understanding of, your tiling journey and sort of what inspired you to get into the trade. And yeah, give us a look in on West Tiling.
Matt, I think like most tradesmen, starting your own business, it's just a natural progression. You're an apprentice, you're a tradesman, you're working for the boys, you're in a crew, you get your own ideas, you get your own want and drive, and you want to do things your way. So when it comes to starting the business, I think that's just a natural progression for me. Second to that, I think there's more of like an ideology of being a businessman, not just a tradesman. So, having that gave me sort of a sense of purpose and direction as well.
Yeah, nice. And mate, tiling for you, was it like the first choice of career straight out of school, or was it were you doing something else before you, mate? Were you like an accountant, or a Secret Service agent, or?
Oh, I wish it was that glamorous, mate. But no, I did go to uni for a few months. It wasn't for me. Simply wasn't for me. Started a light vehicle mechanic apprenticeship. Fast and Furious was big at the time. Everyone was big into their cars and hooning and doing all that sort of stuff. So from there, it just didn't work out. Again, it was more of a hobby. I had a mate who jumped into tiling. I fell into it. I followed him through it, and quite a few years later, we're here.
Nice. Awesome, mate. So it's interesting to hear people's transition in life and into tiling, and the common theme that I've seen over the many contractors that we've had on the program has been that they've sort of fallen into tiling by chance. It's sort of something that we're chatting with a mate and they needed a hand on the weekend, and all of a sudden, you're out there on the tools having a bit of a crack at, mixing glue, or, doing chalk lines or whatever, putting tiles down, and all of a sudden, 10 years have gone by and you're like, wow, now I'm on a podcast.
Pretty well, mate. Yeah.
Nice, mate. Well, look, obviously you've been through the thick and thin of obviously the trade and running your own business. Tell me a little bit about, sort of what sets, West Tiling apart from, the others in the tiling industry, and how do you ensure sort of consistent quality with everything that you do on the jobs that you acquire?
I think, I took the time to work out my values, what I really stand strong to, and what I'm proud to be, have West Tiling represent. Workmanship, efficiency, service, and teamwork. If you're quick, you'll realise that's West. Look, workmanship, it's a part of everything. You need to be competent, you need to be skilled, you need to have the years behind you, the runs on the board, you need to be able to know what you're doing. Efficiency, you need to be able to be efficient at it. You can't just muck around, you can't lose time. Time is money. So the service that comes in, you need to not only service the client, but service everyone around you. You need to look after all of the trades around you and create that team environment, because everyone is on the job at the same time together, trying to achieve a really, really good result. So that's how I ensure quality. I'm a highly detail orientated person, and I'm very schedule driven. And I'm also quite firm, especially with my apprentice, on accountability and things like that. If you make a mistake, you need to own it and work to rectify it, work to fix it. I think without having some sort of a core value or an idea of who you are or what you want to represent, it's really hard to be consistent.
Yeah, wow. Mate, that's pretty powerful. I mean, I've never quite met many people that actually have that sort of value statement, with what they do. Particularly, I love how you've got it broken down with West. I think that the acronyms around that are fantastic, and certainly, obviously, that gives you a lot of a really powerful platform every day when you're getting up and you're working out what your schedule's like, and I'm sure that transcends into your personal life as well.
It does, and I think that comes from all the years of experience. Going out on my own, I was incredibly green, so I had massive learning curves. Not only through learning my skills, but learning how to deal with people, learning how to quote, learning how to be a part of a team that's not my own team. There's just so much in it that if you create a framework or a structure, for me anyway, it just helps. So.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Mate, and the good thing about sharing that sort of stuff is that, and one of the things that we try to focus on a bit is the community abroad in Tiling Connect, and particularly there's a lot more younger tiling contractors coming through on the tools, and I see it more and more often. We're getting more followers that are, just starting out, and I know that when they hear these sort of episodes, they gravitate towards that sort of commentary because they're looking for things that can help them build a really strong business earlier on, and putting the right pillars so that they've got that platform for growth, and whether that be to bring on a couple of apprentices, or whether they're just going to continue being sole traders, but they want to be really good at what they're doing. So, and I think if my memory serves me correctly, you are part of another. You've got a business. Is it Pro Trade? Is that sort of one of the things that you've used to help elevate your business, or things that you do?
Yeah, so Pro Trade is a coaching business. They're a community of, I guess, like-minded tradesmen, business owners who want to improve, who want to grow. We're taught how to do our trade, but we're not taught how to run a business, and it's a massive gap. Once you get behind your business, once you start to understand a few more things, how it works, how it runs, how you should do things, what to avoid, getting yourself out into uncomfortable areas in order to grow, things like that, it becomes a bit addictive. And for anyone that is out there wanting to take that next step, there's so many avenues nowadays in order to reach. You don't need to go to coaching. You can just find a mentor. You can find there's a myriad of things online, on Instagram, there's so much out there. So I just encourage everyone to try and find what it is that they want to do and how to attain it.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome, mate. Well, look, I've got some pretty cool topics to cover off today, and so let's deep dive into it, mate. So let's talk about. But before we do that, though, I should have asked before. There's you and one other in your team.
On the books, yeah, I've got a couple of casuals that come through on some of the larger jobs. It's basically just me and my apprentice. He's now, he'd be transitioning into 4th year. We're hoping to sign him off in June, which is quite exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah. A very, very exciting time. So outside of that, I've got my own contractors. So a lot of other trades that I work with and have worked with for many years. I've got my own waterproofer, my own silicon crews, stonemasons, my own grouter. I don't grout.
Yes.
Which might come as a surprise to some people, but yeah, look, you got to build a team around you, and they don't all have to be on the books. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. You see, you've got your succinct little network of, well, I should say little is not the right word, but you've got your succinct network of, people that you can basically book in and schedule and get that all happening. So the job gets done effectively.
Of course, I mean, more gears creates, more cogs in the machine can create issues at times, some scheduling issue. But also being able to provide that service to the builder. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
These are the avenues. These are the options. At the same time, it also allows me just to focus on the tiling, not all the other facets of the game. So
yeah, wow, excellent. Mate, let's talk marketing and growth strategies. Tell me about what strategies have worked well for your tiling business, and how do you attract new clients when you need to?
I don't really have any current marketing strategies. I feel that there is so much work, especially in Brisbane. There's so much work out there at the moment that you don't need to advertise for it. It just willy-nilly it comes at you. Whether you're working at a tile shop, set of suppliers, for builders, for clients, Facebook, Instagram. There's so many avenues. I just it's not an arm of the business that I've had to focus on or to work on. I think though, by using tools like social media, like Instagram or your Facebook or whatnot, you can target your specific audience, the people that you want to do work for. What more can I say?
No, mate, but that's perfect.
It's not an arm. It's not a strength of the business that I really have had to put much work into. I just think that there's so much work out there that which is a great thing, but obviously creates its own problems too. So
yeah, I think not to underestimate though the reputation that you've built over the last decade or so as a contractor and the work that you've done and what you've put out there. I think that organically brings business to you. You know, when we're talking about the universe and how things all work, if you do good work all of the time, particularly for a period of time, people just tend to know who to speak with. So, you know, obviously when they're thinking about getting tiles installed in your network, you've obviously got all of these people around you that are going, oh, we'll talk to Josh. You know, like he'll look after you because he's awesome.
It's a great feeling to have that network.
Yeah.
It's also very stressful because the last thing you want to do is let people down, right? So,
of course,
as I say, it comes with its pros and comes with its cons. But you know, when I first went out for myself, I was working for a tile shop or got a lot of my work through the tile shop. You know, and you're hustling. It's 7 days a week, and you are going above and beyond. You're a yes man because you're trying to establish that. You're trying to establish your name. You're trying to establish your brand. You're trying to get people to start talking about you or start talking about what you do. And it's always you. It's not about the tiling. It's you as the businessman. It's you as the person that's in front of them. So there's many arms in you know that are at play here. It's just finding. You got to find yourself in order to be able to market yourself. So,
look, it's a really good point that you make as well about, you know, the 7-day hustle and, you know, the grind and the work that you have to do, because that's part of, you know, who you are and what you're putting out there. How important do you think it is? How important do you think it is that your opinion regarding tiling when dealing with clients and with consumers, like how much importance do they put on, or how much, I suppose, how powerful do they put on you as a contractor to give them advice about what to do and how to do it and when to do it? Is that a big thing?
Look, yes and no. I mean, when it comes to colors and selections, and does this pattern match this, and does this tile match that, and you know, mate, you can put pink grout with black tiles. I don't really care. It's not that I don't care. I don't think that's not my job. That's not my. The client needs to know themselves. They need to know what they want, and if they don't know, they go to a designer or they go to a showroom. They go to whatever to find what they want. I think I more come into play when it comes into the install process. You know, what patterns would you like? Would you like this to line up with this? I think methodologies and that sort of stuff. But when it comes to the color selection or what goes with what, I sort of shy away from that. It's not my area.
That's okay. No, hey, look, and that's perfect. I mean, I I'm picking up what you're putting down because when I worked earlier on in retail land and sold tiles, we did a lot of obviously the design consulting internally in the showrooms when people were choosing floor and wall tiles for bathrooms, and this is probably showing my age a little bit. Back then in the early 2000s, we were choosing Listellos to go around, as feature walls, and yeah. I mean, we're so far.
Dishes as well.
Oh, we had soap dishes. We had footrests. It was another world, and everything that went on a wall was either a 20 by 20 or a 20 by 30 or a 20 by 40. So
yeah.
And
330s were big tiles.
Yeah. People were upgrading to 2030s. So but yeah, no, look, we did a lot of that work internally, and it was very much there were lots of conversations around that sort of part of it, and then sharing that information with the contractor so that they knew what the client wanted. There was probably not so much of the client being involved at that stage because they just wanted the tiling done, whether it was a main floor or a bathroom area. So, but I know that today consumers are very interactive with contractors with regards to how things happen. So yeah, look, but we're talking 2 decades ago, so like it's different, but that's cool. Mates, let's talk about some craftsmanship and some things that are going on. Talk to me about what sort of trends or tiling innovations you're seeing or shaping the industry, and sort of how do you keep ahead of the curve when these things occur?
Trends, I think it's going to be quite big, and they're definitely in play now, definitely overseas. The extra large format, one tile per wall. Great idea in theory. In practicality, a bit scary.
Non-profitability.
Look, I think you could find a way. You could definitely find it, but there's obviously more risk and things like that. So, look, I think that's not going to go away. I think that will probably come in effect even more so. But I'm really loving, the small feature tiles like, the Zalige or the flutes. I'm really loving stone, French carve, crazy pave, freeform, mosaics are sort of in and out as well. I'd really love curved walls. I just think that they're such a soft feature piece. I think they're brilliant. We're seeing a lot more feature pieces, barbecues, range hoods, fireplaces, things like that. Feature walls, a lot of stone in that regard too. So, yeah, I mean, at the same time, there's also a lot of discussion around large format tiles and wet areas, which we touched on prior to this. So, with splits and coinciding with falls and all this sort of stuff. So, will we see extra large format on floors? Will we 6x12s on floors? I'm not sure, because we're going to have to split. Will we revert back to mosaics and 2x2s? And it's hard to keep, I guess, ahead of the curve in that regard as to what's going to come. But, then if you talk innovation, that's an incredibly interesting space. 10 years ago also, we had no clips, we had no wedges, no pod systems, no grabos, no joey boards, no IQ saws, or we might have, but basic. I think when new challenges come along, that's where the innovation comes in, and that just matches that curve.
How important do you think it is to embrace, innovation and innovative products when they're around?
Super.
Yep.
If it's new, I want it. I want to try it. I want to give it a go. It's changed my tiling game big time. Things like grinder blades, Directs have released quite a few over the past few years, and some are specific for miters, some are specific for, 20mm porcelain. You've got flapper discs, you've got there's so many things out there in such a little small area of your grinder,
Yeah.
You have to give it a go. You just have to.
Yeah. Is it like beyond the innovation part of it though? Is it closely aligned with saving you time and building more efficiencies in your day so that you can get on the job and get off the job quicker, if that's the case?
I think the efficiency side of it is definitely there. I think it's more the consistency. If you've got a product that can deliver, and if you're confident in using that product or material, you will consistently deliver. You will have faith in what you do and what you're using. So I think you have to try new things, whether they work out for you or not.
Yeah, awesome. Are they, there's obviously a myriad of brands out there across the network. Have you got any particular favourites that you love to work with?
Are we talking tools or adhesives or?
Oh, mate, whatever. Whatever's going.
Open form.
Whatever floats your boat.
Again, I like to try a lot of things. Adhesives, I'm hell bent on SAS adhesives. I absolutely love Master Grip.
Cool.
I haven't found an application where it's failed me yet. I can't speak more highly of it. Internal, external, submerged.
Is that a light adhesive?
Yes. Yeah. So it's a polymer-based light adhesive. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Directs for your wheels, for your hole saws. The new flapper discs are unreal. Joey boards. What a fantastic idea. What a great innovation.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Joey boards are very much around capturing dust through a vacuum port, I think, underneath the table or something. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. So obviously, all the silicosis and that sort of stuff going around, they're probably going to cramp down on a lot of it, like they have in the benchtop and the stonemason industry. We're probably next. Let's be honest. I think they're in competition, I guess, with IQ. IQs are a big saw. They're a lumpy saw. They don't always. I've had issues with the blades. That's just me personally. I know there's sharpening stones. I know. See, they're also going to come out with new blades and innovate themselves. So you can't totally discredit that either. But I think with the Joey board, you're using. Yes, you're carrying a board and a table and an M-class vac and all that sort of stuff. But it's a cleaner job site. It just has many, many benefits to your efficiency. You can set up right where you're working.
Yeah.
I can't promote it enough. It's increased efficiency for me, big time.
And there's an example. 100%. And I think I saw it recently. There was another attachment, but I can't think of the brand name. And I was going to ask you whether or not you've tried it. But you put it onto your grinder, and it connects a hose in, and it sprays water on your grinder. But I think there is a reseller here somewhere.
A whale tail or something.
That's it. Yeah, something
along those lines.
Yeah, I think the guys in the States has invented it and brought it over here.
Yep.
And I saw it and thought it was a really good tool. I thought it was a great option, but my OH&S brain kicks in, and I'm like, you're putting water on an electrical grinder. So what's to stop the guy from the contractor from getting electrocuted? Because grinders aren't waterproof. Let's be real.
Very
so great invention, but
I think the idea of that is to mimic the wet saw. A lot of the blades, they work a lot better if they're kept cool.
Yes.
The idea of the water cooling. The only issue I see with that is when you're so I do a lot of new builds or renovation. So I like to cut upstairs inside. I can do that with the Joey board. I can't do that with a wet saw, and I can't do that with anything that's got water.
Yeah, right. Makes sense. Nice. Well, mate, look, let's talk a little bit more about just jumping off product for a second. Let's talk a little bit more about craftsmanship. I think that plays an important role in what anyone does. What do you have some specific processes, or what are your specific processes for ensuring that every project that you're on, from material to selection, that the install process is flawless, so to speak?
Yeah, detail, a schedule, and I guess communication would be probably the three big things. I guess with the detail, I need to have all the plans. I need to have all the finishing schedules. I need to know everything. As I said, I predominantly work for builders. So I need all the paperwork. I want to see everything. I want to know exactly what I'm in for and what I have to deliver, I guess. Get an idea of the expectations. So I want to know if I'm mitering. I want to know if I've got strip drains or envelope trays or nib walls or mosaic or large format, or give it all to me. I need to see it all.
Yeah. So the whole picture.
The whole picture. Yeah.
Yep.
So from that I can then break down the job. I can then derive what materials I need, what's best suited, what will work best in all instances. It's an efficiency thing, right? And then I think second to that, you're able to work on how you're going to do it. So your methodologies, and that's how you have consistent, high quality output. Once you know the details, you can set a schedule. So you can work out your labor components. You can work out, as I said before, you can break it all down into stages. That allows you to sort of back costs. It allows you to see what worked, what didn't work. If you've got to move something or shift something because of a delay, or where you sit on the project. For me, it's just how I do it, how I can improve. You can always improve on a schedule. You can always improve on what you're doing. So the third thing, as I said, was communication. I think that I'm annoying. I will, if you don't give me everything I need, I will hound you. Like, I will hound the fuck out of you. I need to know everything.
I love it. Yeah.
Because I can't deliver what you want if you don't tell me.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. I like to have job site meetings. So I'll have a meeting with my waterproofer, with the builder, with the architect or designer or owner, whoever, at waterproof stage. Before we even waterproof, we check over everything and we go through everything room by room. All four of us are on the same page.
Yep.
If there's any questions, if there's any issues, if there's anything that's highlighted, it's brought up then and there. You can't communicate enough. We live in a world where it takes 30 seconds to send a text message.
Yeah.
I think that it's important, and that those sort of three things are what allow me to deliver my craftsmanship, my high quality craftsmanship.
Yeah, that's awesome. Mate, great share. And I love the part about communication and the fact that you're doing meetings on site pre-doing any sort of steps in the process so that everyone's on the same page. It's a very common theme in, it's not just in tiling, it's just a very common theme in construction that communication is probably only about 20% of everyone's workday when it should be about 100. And I think what a lot of people fail to see is that, the more that you communicate, as you've eloquently put, the more effective you can get the job done and ensure that everyone's expectations are met, and maybe in some cases even exceeded. But you don't communicate, things can turn to shit pretty quickly. And then you go home at the end of the day, you're frustrated, and it would have just taken a simple conversation to work through some of the bits and pieces that you needed to do to ensure that everything worked well.
Yeah, of course. And a great example of that is at that meeting, I sit there and I go, right, Mr. Builder, I need a little tapware.
Yeah.
We're at waterproof stage. You have a few days before we're coming in. I need tapware because I need to make sure my holes, suit. It's just checks and measures, and it de-stresses you because you know that you're going in, that everything's actually ready for you. Or if it's not ready, you know that it's already being organized. Communication, mate.
Yep. Pretty simple.
Very simple.
If you're going to take anything away from today's episode, communication. Learn it, live it, love it.
Exactly. Be annoying.
Yeah, be annoying, and life will be simpler. Particularly in construction. So, mate, I'm going to jump forward a little bit here because I wanted to pick up on we're talking about communication and efficiencies and those sorts of things again, which are sort of really important, right? How do you ensure appropriate profitability is achieved on every job, and sort of what is your benchmark? This is something that I see. A question that I see. This is a question that I love to ask because I see it so often in social media about people asking about what prices they should be charging and shouldn't be charging, and what's everyone else. What is everyone else charging? However, if you are, and I understand, getting a bit of guidance based on square meter rates, but certainly there has to be a part there where you've got to be thinking about the profitability of your business, because you can charge whatever you want to charge per square meter. You may or may not win the job, but there's no point doing something if you're not making any money, because
Exactly.
that's crazy. Like,
yeah, you don't go to work for free, right?
Oh no, nobody does. And so I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are on that and how you go about it with your business.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably one of the reasons why I jumped into some coaching into pro trade. I think you really need to understand your business. You need to understand your numbers. You can't just go and throw a square meter number at a job and expect you to walk away with some money. You need to know your overheads. You need to know your costs. You need to know your material costs. You need to know timelines, schedules. If things blow out a day or two, it costs you. It's lost time. So I really think that it's not like it's how do I put this nicely? We're not dumb. We're not stupid.
No.
We play with numbers all day. It's just a little concept. That little concept is BAS, AG, fuel, things like that you need to take into effect, break that down, and then that's your square meter rate. Add your profitability on top, and that's what suits you. If you're a bloke who's running around as a one-man band, you're going to have a way different square meter rate to a bloke who's running around with 4 guys, 4 trucks, etc., etc. You can't expect it to be the same. Same as your efficiencies would be different. He's got 4 blokes on the job. You're by yourself. He's going to be quicker through it. But at the same time, he's got to get through it quicker because he's got bigger bills. You need to know your numbers. You need to know how your business operates, how it works, and go and get the help. No one is too dumb. Go and get the help.
Yeah. So if you could give some advice to a younger, sole trader, tiling contractor on the tools right now today, what would that be? What's the first thing you think they should do when they're going out, launching their business?
It's very tough because when you're first out, you don't necessarily have all the connections. So you are very much a yes man. Splashback here, main floor there, patio here. From all that though, you can work out your costs. You can work out material costs. You can work out time and labor. You can get an idea of what things should be. We all have the data. We all have the quotes. We all have the information there. It just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of help to process it. If you're fresh out, ask your boss, ask your previous boss for a bit of help. Ask a mentor, ask someone in the industry. Go and ask someone like ProTrade. Go and ask your accountant. Go talk to your bookkeeper. People that do the numbers or do that for a living, they're the ones that you need to talk to. Same as people come to us for tile installation. So never be afraid to ask the questions. I don't think that there's many tilers in their 60s or 70s, or maybe even late 50s. So you need to earn that money. You need to earn it while you're young.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I think it's really important that one of the things you touched on there was, talking to an accountant. That's really important to have, a really good accountant, and you may not find them off the first try. So it's important to test each one as you go along, because they're all going to obviously appeal to you a little bit differently. So we'll, so that sort of, that's really important. I found that through my career. I think as I've evolved, and started to work on these side businesses that I have as well, I've gone through a couple of accountants to get to the right one that understands me, and it's about that relationship and that partnership. So,
well, having the community around you too. So, every trade is in the same boat. We're all trying to run a business. We all know our trade, but we're all trying to run a business, right? So ask them. Ask them. We've all got rapport with who we work with. Hey man, who are you using? Hey, what have you found with this? Quick question about this. It'll start a conversation that you'll be thankful that you had.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, agree. Well, mate, let's talk about some problem-solving stuff, because I love these topics. They really help, others in the industry understand how people are dealing with things. Particularly some challenging stuff. So, I mean, obviously, through your career, mate, you've dealt with some challenging things on site as a contractor, mate. Tell us about a job that was challenging, and what was the issue, and how did you overcome it? What did you do?
Mate, I think there's been a myriad of jobs that have been challenging, whether it be because of me, whether it be because of the substrate, whether it be because of the client, be because of the material, the tile. I think that it's a continual learning experience. I think that I can't really nail it down to one. I learn every day.
Give us a theme. Give us a theme.
A theme. Okay.
Was it addictive? Did you have?
Okay. All right. Well, here's one that happened the other week. We had waterproofer came in because he's using a full poly. We throw sand all over the poly so that our adhesives can stick to it, or our screw can stick to it. The vanities were installed. They didn't have tops or anything on. A bit of sand got into the rollers of the vanity doors.
Yeah.
All right. So not ideal.
It's gonna happen.
It's never happened before. So
okay.
it totally abstract. It just happened. So builder calls me, I call my waterproofer, we all discuss it, okay, all right, we might need to get some new rollers. If that's the case, that's the case. It is what it is, I then chat with my waterproofer in the afternoon and I go, right, how can we eliminate this? This is dumb. Like, how did this even happen? Do you know what I mean? So I come up with a few ideas. I then speak with the builder and I say, well, let's change something here. Let's not have this happen again. Can vanities go in after tiling as an idea? Yeah. Can we put some 4mm Villa on top of the vanities so that nothing can get in it? And a bit of context, it wasn't just sand, There's a bit of tile dust, there's a bit of grout, there's a bit of wood chip and shavings. Wow. That's an example of a challenge that no one was expecting, but it happened. So you've got to approach it with, okay, accountability, like I said before. Okay, we own it, we'll fix it. How do we prevent it? You apply that to any challenge, people. I think that you'll learn. And as you learn, you just learn how to deal with it.
Mate, really good example. And I have to say, though, a lot of people I've seen so many different scenarios in the past where most people wouldn't even address it. They would just go, they would probably be 20 jobs deep and the same issue might happen 10 times out of 20 and it would still be an issue. But because, again, going back to that piece before about communication and having a conversation about the issue, and like as you said, it can be as simple as, can we put the vanities in post waterproofing and tiling? The only reason it's probably been put in is because it's turned up. And the builder's gone, well, while it's here, we'll just get it in. But not thinking about the effect of, can something be damaged?
Yeah, and I guess at the same time, because it hasn't happened before, doesn't mean it will. But this also comes back to how I was saying earlier about my values. So the teamwork and the service, it gives you something to pivot off in a direction. Which helps you to deliver your consistency. So that's probably how I get around big challenges, is I have that framework.
Yep. Yeah, we keep referring back to that framework, and that's awesome. Yeah. Cool. Well, mate, I'm sort of getting towards the end of today. I didn't think that we would be as efficient as what we have. You've eloquently put everything down, which is
Yep.
super cool, mate. Tell me a little bit about you, mate. So obviously, outside of business, and we all know that, you know, when you're obviously a sole trader and you're running your own business and you're responsible for other people, that, you know, there's a high degree of things going on in your life, but certainly obviously, you know, family and that is really important as well. So how do you sort of go about managing everything today with business and, you know, responsibilities with employees and family? What's have you got any tricks or tips that you can share that would help people understand how to go about that?
Yeah, probably not my strongest suit, to be honest, and I can openly admit that. I am a bit of a workaholic. I will work 6-7 days a week if I have to. I've got a 15-month-old, so he's changed my direction a little bit. I like to get home, spend the time with him and mum, spend my weekends with them. They're only little for so long, so now that he's up and walking and running around, it's a whole new ball game. So I think as much as I want a balanced life in that regard, I think it's a daily struggle. I promote that with my team. My apprentice has got a couple of young kids too. If they're sick, they're sick. You know what I mean? It causes issues with the business, but I guess the work will always be there. They need to know that dad's home or that mum's there or things like that. So I think that's super important. Family is super important. Helps you to take your mind off things, de-stress a little bit. I have a little morning ritual. I get up, I do something for me, something for Ollie, and something for the family. You know, at least it's the same as that concept of get up in the morning and make your bed. Well, I can't because the missus is still in bed. So you get up and you do a couple of things that set you up for the day.
Yeah.
So mental health has been a big thing for me. I've had many struggles. But I think that you need to, I think that's why I always come back to framework and guidelines. It's who I am. It's what I need in order to function and to work.
Yeah. No, that's that's really awesome. It's again, I know there's been a very much a theme around that framework, but it's so important to understand that. And I think you've done it really well. And obviously, you've been able to articulate today exactly how that's positively impacted your life and your business. And I encourage anybody listening to this episode to go down similar paths. You don't necessarily have to go to one particular platform or another, but as you put before, there's so many different avenues and ways to find the right companies or organizations or even online stuff, or your network, and make sure that you've got a really balanced aspect to everything that you approach. Mate, tell me, like, do you think from the day?
So, Mark, I think as you just mentioned there, like networking, like social media, Instagram, and that.
Yep.
I talk with a lot of Tylers on that.
Oh yeah.
We
Nice.
we share a lot of our struggles. We share our wins, things like that. So I think you need to have that little community around yourself of people that get you, that understand, in order to help you maintain that balanced lifestyle as well. You need to be able to vent. You can't vent to your missus. I can't vent to a 15-month-old. He doesn't know what's going on.
No.
But you need to be able to talk to people that do understand and do get it. So creating that network is a big thing, I think, as well.
Yeah, and I think that's sorry. I think you've said that really well, is that I think we're more connected today than we've ever, well, we definitely are more connected today than we've ever been before. And I think being able to actually talk to, a guy who's in Tasmania, Sydney, Canberra, Brisbane, Gold Coast, wherever, guy or girl, that are on the tools, and, being able to share stories and, outwardly express some frustrations, if that be the case, or even ask for advice. So I see that pretty frequently through Tiling Connect community. I'm, constantly communicating with people via message in that platform, but then there's also WhatsApp and Messenger, and there's a whole bunch of different things, and text, and it's really
almost
important.
too many.
Yeah, I know, right? It's you wish there was just one and everyone would choose that, but everyone has their flavour.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
um, mate, tell me about your future vision. Any big plans for the business? Retiring in the next couple of years? What's what's happening with West Tiling, mate?
Mate, I think, as I said, because the apprentice is pretty well about to be signed off, I'm able to go and somewhat pursue some of the jobs that um, that thrill me, that scare me, that are for me. I guess I'm able to be a little bit more selfish again. Um, I think slowing down on meterage and focusing more on highly detailed, intricate sort of work, pushing those boundaries, being outside of my comfort zone. I guess I want to become like a master craftsman. I think that'll be my next
Yes.
stage. But at the same time, I need to support Cody too. So
Yeah.
whether he wants to continually work for me, fantastic. Whether he wants to then start his own business, subby to me, whatever. There's so many different ways that could go. Do I put on another apprentice? Do I put on more people? I don't know. I don't think that's for me. I think I've done that, and I think I'm more interested now in perfecting my craft. So it's hard to say.
Mate, I love hearing people talk about that, getting into the intricate, master craftsman type of work. And it's not probably not discussed enough in our industry about how meticulous tiling can be. There's a lot of conversations around price. There's a lot of conversation around failures. There's a lot of conversation
Yeah.
around, cheap and there's a lot of conversations around, crap tiles. I'm not going to mention any names, but there's fewer conversations around. Let's have a look at the craft of tiling and let's elevate the stature of tiling in Australia, because we've sort of, our population obviously is a lot lower than some of the, like Europe and America and things like that. But it's chalk and cheese when we talk about what's happening over there versus here. And I think, the more and more we discuss and we promote and put out there around the type of things you can do with tiles, the better. So that's cool. I really like that.
100%. Yeah. It's a trade that I love it. I mean, that's quite obvious. I'm very passionate about it. I think that, we need more apprentices, boys and girls, coming through. We need more competent labor coming through. There's so many things that the industry is. That's not just tiling, that's construction as a whole. But I think tiling in general, it's such a physical and mentally demanding job. You need grit and to be able to work to millimeters. It takes a certain person to want to get up every day, break their body, and work to precision. And that's trades in general. I think that's where the industry needs some improvement, some help. Where that comes from, how that eventuates, I don't know. I know there's a lot of tilers currently walking away from the industry. I was speaking to my supplier earlier. There's about 4 or 5 businesses that are established businesses, like businesses that have been going for a long time. They've just shut shop. They've had enough. They're done. The workload's too much. The demand's too much. Substrates are poor. Prior works are average. It's taken that much of a toll that they're packing up and walking away from something that they've worked so hard to do. It really puts you in your place.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's tough, right? I mean, particularly if after many years of blood, sweat and tears, just to decide that, it's time to, I just can't do it anymore.
If I got to that point, I mean, you'd be a broken soul.
Yeah.
To be able to walk away from something that, you've literally, and I mean literally, broken your body. Everyone knows tiles are heavy. Everyone knows, tile's back. No, it's not your back. It's your shoulders, it's your knees, it's your hips, it's your ankles. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
A porcelain 6x6 tile is 8 kilo.
Yeah. Minimum.
there's 4 in a box. That's 32 kilo. Like, we're carrying tons of tiles upstairs all day and then working to a millimeter.
Yeah.
It's a certain type of person to do that.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, there's a lot, particularly in the tiling trade over the years that I've seen it, because good mates of mine are contractors and in tiling. And there's so much repetitive strain injuries that can occur specifically from tiling, you know, from, you know, as you mentioned, picking up heavy tiles all day, every day, to the motion of the notch trowel, left to right, right to left, whichever way you do it. I mean, that there in terms of meters, you annualize that out. I mean, then you have a look at how your elbows are performing after year 5, your knees, your lower back. It is a physically demanding job. So yeah, it takes everything you've said, mate. I don't need to repeat it. It takes a strong person to be able to do this sort of work.
Mentally, I think more. Yeah, you need to have that support around you. You know, you need to have that community, that service, that teamwork, that care. It's all part of it, and that's not just in your own crew. That's amongst your builder and your other trades. It's everywhere. We all need to start looking after each other. Start providing that advice, and you know, we're all in the trenches. We're all in the boat. We're just up a different stream. We're all in the same boat. So ask for help. Get out there and talk.
Very cool, Josh. Well, I haven't called you Westy before, so I'll just call you Westy. I didn't realise that was your nickname, by the way. Thanks for sharing that today. So. Mate, you've been incredible today. We love you know, this part of the show as much as the whole show, and we love to be able to connect up you know, contractors like yourself with the community and anyone that wants to reach out. So should people want to reach out to you directly, have a chat, have a talk, what's the best way for them to do that?
Instagram is the biggest platform for communication, connecting. You know, you can jump on there, say good day. Whatever you want to do on that. I also have the website. Again, jump on there, have a look through. If you want to jump on board, if you want to put one of these shirts on, by all means, let's have a chat. I think me and every other Tyler are chasing workers at the moment. So yeah, look, those avenues, the social media, they're the avenues.
Yeah, nice. Well, mate, we will absolutely get that in the show notes so that everyone can reach out to you. Hopefully you don't get inundated with, you know, 1,000 phone calls or messages, because I know you've got a business to run, but that's probably a good problem to have. And mate, I would love to.
A good problem to have.
Yeah, it would.
Something different for once. People
exactly.
Work.
All of a sudden, Westy's doing his coaching clinic for tiling, and you know, we've just elevated the 10-year business plan to a 5-year business plan. That's fine. But mate, I might also, if it's okay with you, we'll throw in a link there to ProTrade as well. I think you've clearly experienced some amazing benefit from connecting in with those guys, and I think that there's no harm in getting that on the show notes so that people can have a look at that as well. And if that's the path that they choose to go down, and maybe you know,
as well, the Australian Tile Council too. So
yeah, absolutely. You've been a member for quite some time now, right?
I have, yeah. That's only growing and improving. There's a lot of documentation on that to help, and it's designed for us tilers. So,
yeah, it's good, mate. It's excellent suggestion. We'll do that as well. And mate, look, again, thank you for your time. And as we say it on every show, until next time, stay connected. And definitely in the next week or two, I'm going to come and see you on site, because it's just been way too long, and we'll have a coffee and a chat in person live.